the city clerk before the start of the meeting. If the meeting has already begun, please hand it to any city staff. You may also check the "I do not wish to speak" option on the card. This allows you to still voice your opinion on an item on the record without having to speak. Public comment on a non-agenda item will take place during the citizen comment portion of the evening. These are items that don't appear on tonight's formal agenda. The city clerk will call your name when it's time for you to speak. At that time, please approach the podium and state your name for the record. We ask that you speak clearly into the microphone. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes, and there is a timer visible from the podium. When the light changes from green to yellow, your time is coming to an end. When the light turns red, your time is up. Note that you may also choose not to speak if other speakers before you have said what you wanted to say. Shouting, cheering, and loud noises will not be tolerated, and violators may be removed for disrupting the meeting. Goodyear City Council meetings stream live on Facebook and YouTube, and online at goodyearaz.gov. Thank you for your participation in tonight's meeting.
I'd like to call to order the regular meeting, August 30th, 2021. Please join Councilmember Campbell in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you bow with me, please? Heavenly Father, we join the entire country mourning the devastating loss last week of 13 U.S. service members killed in action in Kabul, Afghanistan. There are no words that can describe the pain felt by their fellow soldiers, their family, their loved ones, but our city sends our prayers and love to their family and those injured, as well as those brave men and women still standing guard outside the airport. We cannot thank the brave men and women of our armed forces enough for what they do to preserve this incredible nation. We thank you, God, for this opportunity to serve the people of our great city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with clarity and restraint, but most of all, God, give us a spirit of service. We ask you to place a hedge of protection for our police, our fire, all of our first responders, and our military all over the world as they serve our community every day. May we ever be mindful and thankful of the sacrifices on our behalf. We also pray, Lord, for the healing of those sick and afflicted. Protect the medical personnel administering to the sick in all of the hospitals. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you very much. Excuse me just a minute. All right. Thank you so much for that prayer. And I think our hearts and prayers have been on that subject all week long. Mm-hmm. Everyone is present. We have one communication item tonight. The first item is an update on the activities and achievement of the Goodyear Youth Commission during FY 2021. Assistant to the Council, John Ryder, will present. John?
Thank you, Mayor Lord. And for the record, my name is John Ryder. I'm the Assistant to the City Council, and my secondary job title is Staff Liaison to the Goodyear Youth Commission. I'm pleased to be here this evening to talk to you a little bit about our Youth Commission and what we were able to accomplish in fiscal year 21. So just a little bit of background for you, and before I get started, I do want to mention that I'm joined here by our newly elected chair, Victoria Loretano, as well as our newly elected vice chair, Ray Gee. And again, just a little bit of background. The purpose of our Youth Commission is to create a forum to develop leadership skills through involvement in our city government. In fiscal year 21, our Youth Commission was 28 high school students that reside in Goodyear. They're appointed to a 2-year term, unless they're senior, in which they're appointed to a 1-year term, and that generally creates a stagger. So about half of our commissioners every year are brand new, and then we have about half that are coming back, just depending on how things work out again with our seniors. Our timeline there, we begin recruitment in the spring, and our year runs along the school year or the fiscal year. We vet and do interviews in June. The city council yourselves make appointments in July, and then we just had our first meeting of this new school year in August. As I mentioned, our goal is to develop leadership skills amongst Goodyear youth through civic engagement. And we do this in a number of different ways. First of all, of course, we want to educate our students on how municipal government works, and we create opportunities for them to engage and learn from our department directors. And then we also want them to learn how we operate at the regional, state, and federal level as well. So we create opportunities for them to attend conferences, engage with regional organizations, even attend the National League of Cities conference in Washington, D.C., and learn about how federal government works. Certainly a big part of leadership skills is learning to work together and to collaborate. And we look for opportunities for our youth to create projects that impact youth in the community. Third, we're always looking for volunteer opportunities so our youth can engage and serve the community in which they live. And finally, our youth are the voice of, our youth commissioners are the voice of our youth in the community. And we look to make sure that they have a place to engage with our departments and provide feedback on different projects and initiatives in the city. So you'll probably notice as we go through, our fiscal year 21 looked a little bit different, as did everybody's, but we still look to create meaningful opportunities for our youth to engage. You can see here, we created learning opportunities. Mayor Lord was nice enough to come and speak to the Youth Commission about being an elected official. The Maricopa Association of Governments came and presented to the youth on the Proposition 400 and regional transportation. And then Chief Rodriguez, in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, spoke to the Youth Commission about policing and social justice. Not pictured up here because my Zoom picture wasn't very good. The Youth Commission also hosted Dr. Dominique Rosepowitz from Arizona State University for Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and we had a presentation on sex trafficking. As I mentioned, learning to work collaboratively as a team and create projects is an important part of what we do. And the Youth Commission created this video to raise awareness about masks. This time we'll play that video.
When you're out and about, make sure to wear your mask.
So thank you very much. That was, of course, done all remotely, as most of our activities were done. So again, kind of being innovative and adapting to the circumstances to create a message that's meaningful to their peers and to the community at which we serve. Of course, like I mentioned, a big component of what we do is volunteer service in our community. Again, looked a little bit different this year, but we still looked for every opportunity that we could. Pictured here, you will see us collecting food for Make a Difference Day, and we filled up several of those large bins at the PD Ops Center collecting food from Goodyear residents. We also, again, pictured on the screen, volunteered for Homeless Youth Connection. This picture doesn't really do justice to the work that the youth did. If you can imagine nearly a ceiling-high pile of clothes that was sorted into the various boxes into that room. So they put in a lot of work that day. And finally, a big component of what we do is we want the Youth Commission to represent the youth voice in our community. They participate and have a seat on the Parks and Rec Advisory Commission and attend those meetings to provide feedback on our Parks and Recreation system. We had a youth representative attend our Goodyear Police Department CAN meetings, or community action. The reason I can't say it is because there's an error on the screen. So Community Action Network meetings, or CAN meetings, in which Chief Rodriguez facilitates a community discussion about many of the policing issues that have been very relevant. And then, of course, they represent us at different city events, and they're pictured on the screen, helping us break ground at our Civic Square, which was an important moment for the youth as well as our entire city. At this time, I would like to invite our chair, Victoria Loretano, and Vice Chair Commissioner Gee to the podium so they can briefly share some of their thoughts on the commission, our accomplishments, and what they hope to work on in the coming year.
Hello, Council. I'm the chair of the Goodyear Youth Commission. My name is Victoria Loretano. I attend Estrella Foothills High School, and I am a senior. I've been in the commission since my freshman year of high school, and it's been a wonderful experience, and I am astounded by the growth of this commission over these 4 years. Something I've learned in this commission is how to work a government, and how a government works, and how one group can affect a community in small and large ways. The importance of formalities and nuances are necessary in a government is another thing I've learned. And also an important thing I've learned, which could be glossed over, is how to socialize with people and how to grow your own experiences from those of others and connect with others from different cities, schools, and even states, depending on where you are. Something significant that the Youth Commission has accomplished in the community is a question that is hard to answer, if not to say a ton. We did focus on mental health issues such as Cookies and Convo and Cocoa, which was an event where we took high school students all over the city, brought them to Millennium, and discussed mental health issues and who to talk to and who the outreach is. This was before COVID, and I really hope to bring this back after COVID, especially with the recent decline in mental health of teenagers around everywhere. We also did supplies during a Christmas drive before COVID. And during COVID, though we couldn't get out as much, we still did. And we helped the best we could grow our own education of the city, of the city's practices, of transportation, and anything we could grow our education on, we did. I have many goals this year. Some goals include bringing back Cookies, Convo, and Cocoa, as I stated before. Slowly incorporating more ways to connect with each other this year, safely, of course, but wanting to bring back those connections of teenagers around the area. I also hope to bring more people in the commission and watch it grow even more, even after I'm gone. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Raymond. I'm currently a senior at Basis Goodyear, and I'm the vice chair of the City of Goodyear Youth Commission. With this year being my 4th year on the Youth Commission, I've had so many great experiences, and they've all really taught me the importance and value of serving our community, and just the sheer power of pooling our resources together, because each commissioner has had such various different backgrounds, and they're from different schools. So when we pool all of our resources together, it can be really powerful. And one of my favorite experiences on the Youth Commission has been the mental health awareness event, like our chair Victoria mentioned, but also serving, volunteering at the Goodyear Ballpark events. I remember going to those events as a little kid, so being able to give back to our community and serving at those events that I attended as a little kid was just a great experience. And although last year we were more limited in our opportunities, I think this year we still face new challenges, but also new opportunities. With the new Goodyear Recreation Campus, I think that opens a lot more possibilities for the Youth Commission. And one goal that I'd like our Youth Commission to carry out this year would be to open a small free library at the Goodyear Recreation Campus where people could donate books, and those books would always be available for the people there. Thank you.
Thank you both, and thank you to all of our commissioners who are listed here, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize them for their hard work that they did last year. They're a truly remarkable cohort, and I am so honored that I have the opportunity to serve with them to serve the city of Goodyear. I will just say briefly, Raymond mentioned it in his statements, as we had our first meeting in August, and Mayor Lord was nice enough to stop in as we swore in some of our new commissioners. And I do believe, as Raymond was mentioning, the Goodyear Recreation Campus is going to be a wonderful opportunity for the youth to engage with their peers and youth from around the city. Just as we were in there, the entire lobby was full of youth, or as I saw, prospective people for future Youth Commission events. So with that, thank you, Mayor and Council, for all of your generous support. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
I'm going to turn it over to the council for comments. Councilman Pizzello.
Again, I appreciate your future, stepping up and taking this on. So again, thank you for giving your time. And I'm sure great things are going to come from you all.
Councilman Hampton.
Yeah, likewise. I think it's a great program. I do appreciate John's leadership and the students that are stepping up to be a part of the city, learn more about it. I don't think these programs were around when I was in high school, so at least in my city. But yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for them to learn, to get involved, and to be civically engaged, and to know the processes and the bigger picture of government. So I think it's exciting. I'm glad we have a lot of students that have been interested. It's a cross section of the entire city too. So I'm excited. Hopefully one of my kids will want to go through it as well. So thank you.
Councilman Kano.
I just want to commend you for being so innovative during the past year when you weren't able to meet in person, and how important it was to stay connected. And I especially appreciate your care and concern for the well-being of the modern American teenager. And I look forward to seeing what you are able to do in this next year.
Councilmember Loretano.
I want to thank you, John, for your leadership, and the whole commission for all their hard work that they've done for the city of Goodyear. It's great to see so many young people involved, and they're our future. So thank you, and thank you all.
Any other comment? Well, Councilman Campbell.
Well, I am excited about the Youth Commission because I sit on boards and commissions with Councilmember Kano and Councilmember Loretano, and we got to interview every single one of these outstanding students. And they are there on our Youth Commission because they wanted to do community service. They wanted to be a part of our city. And we're so grateful for so many youngsters wanting to do that in today's world. And we do expect great things out of this, especially group of young people being led by Victoria. And I know you're going to be very innovative, and I know that you're going to look into mentoring at the Recreation Center, which is a wonderful opportunity to talk about how great our Youth Commission is and get other kids interested. So thank you, John, for all of your hard work. It's hard to herd 23 active teenagers, or 25, is it 25? 24. Goodness, this is wonderful. And I just wish them the very best, and if there's anything we can do to help, let us know.
Councilmember Stipp.
Obviously be remiss not to say thank you to obviously Victoria as our current chair, and everyone to pass that along. When the Youth Commission first started, my daughter was on the very first one and served through it when it was 7 members. So to see it grown to this number and the trajectory that it's taken over the years, it's great to have John, providing some leadership and moving forward. So just, keep up the good work, continue to engage your peers, because Lord knows we need some help in the future. Thanks.
And John, I want to compliment you. You've done a beautiful job with them. I would love to have had a program like this when my children were growing up. Mm-hmm. I would love to have had it when I was growing up. I learned about politics and government the hard way, and, up and down. So it is, and you do such a good job in a meeting. You're so clear and precise, and all of the students are responding to you, and that's the most important thing, is the conversation going on there. So we greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Let's do a round of applause. Now is the time for citizens who would like to address the City Council on any non-agenda item within the jurisdiction of the Goodyear City Council. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
All right. Does anybody wish to speak? Well, then let's go on to the consent agenda. Will the city clerk please read the consent agenda items 2 through 8, title only?
Number 2, approval of minutes. Number 3, authorize the city manager or designee to execute all documents necessary to enter into a mutual aid agreement for fire, medical emergencies, and rescue services between the Goodyear Fire Department and Gila River Indian Community. Number 4, recommend approval of a location owner transfer of a Series 9 liquor license and sampling privileges for Arizona Fine Wine and Spirits, LLC, doing business as Total Wine and More, located at 1416 North Litchfield Road, Goodyear, Arizona. Number 5, approve the appointments to the Council Compensation Committee and adopt the amended bylaws. Number 6, approve expenditure of funds up to $711,000. It's too big. $711,138.77 for hail damage, roof repairs at the ballpark and development complexes and related budget transfers. 7, accept the wastewater line and access facilities easement, 2 public utility and sidewalk easements, a permanent drainage easement agreement, and 2 temporary drainage easement agreements from NNP3 Estrella Mountain Ranch, LLC, a Delaware limited liability company. Number 8, acceptance of permanent drainage easement and restrictive covenant agreement for the Lakin Park development.
Thank you. Does council wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? Then I'd like to have a motion, a second, to approve items 2 through 8. Do I hear that motion?
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Campbell and a second from Vice Mayor Hampton. Did I say Hampton? Hannon? Hampton? Okay. Good. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Let's vote on. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. I would like to remind council, we're on the business to wait for a motion and a second before discussion. The first item on business is consider approving Estrella Parkway and Estrella Foothills High School traffic signal. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm Hugh Biak, the city traffic engineer. And tonight I'll be presenting the Estrella Parkway and Estrella Foothills High School traffic signal. Give you some background on this. Originally, this project was added in, I believe, for fiscal year 2021 to the CIP. And over the last year, the design has been completed. The construction schedule, if approved this evening, would begin in September of 2021. And we estimate completion to be around February of 2022. And the construction budget of $865,000. And in the exhibit in the picture on the right, you can see the general location of it. It's located on the access road that provides access to both the Estrella Foothills High School and the Foothills Community Park, which is located on the north side of the roadway. And with that, I'd like to request the approve of the expenditure of funds in the amount of $865,000 for the construction of the traffic signal at the intersection of Estrella Parkway and Estrella Foothills High School. And with that, be happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? Can I have a motion and a second to approve the expenditure of funds in the amount of $865,000 for the construction of a traffic signal at the intersection of Estrella Parkway and Estrella Foothills High School? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Loretano and a second from Councilman Kano. Open for council discussion. Councilman Loretano.
I'm really glad this is going to be started sooner rather than later because that situation's deteriorated even further for safety reasons. So I guess this is more a question for the city manager or if the police chief is here. Sometimes I think the school resource officer is out there directing traffic, but is there any way we can keep an eye, especially during the morning? Because it's getting even worse. It's getting more dangerous as that area grows up north. I don't know if it's the chief's. He's not here.
He's not, but I'd be glad to look into that. Councilmember, and get
I do kind of worry. I know we've got it as fast as it can go. It's next month and, to start, but it's just they got more kids coming back this year than they thought, so it's even worse than it was before. So I appreciate it. So thank you for moving on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Vice Mayor Hampton.
Yeah, I know it's very needed up there, but I had a question, which it probably was in other presentations, but are we doing the full cost, or is Newland or the school helping with any of the costs?
No, this was a CIP traffic signal with the cost paid for completely out of the capital improvement program.
Okay, and are they looking at a second entrance at all to the school in the future?
It has come up in past years. My predecessor, 2 years ago, this came up in discussion, and at that time it was, the question had come up that it would take a partnership between more than just the city. It also may require Newland, as in the developers, they own surrounding property as well to make that happen.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, because I think the signal's great. I'm just thinking long-term as it continues to grow, or until we get another high school up there to take off the burden from that area, because obviously going to continue to grow up there. So I think a third of our growth, if not more, is up there. So, all right, thank you.
Councilmember Kano.
I'm just curious why it takes 5 months to put the signal in.
Sure, very good question. One of the reasons why it takes so long, one is it comes down to the production of the traffic signal structures themselves. That we don't necessarily have stock of these signals, and they generally were quoted pre-pandemic. I believe usually the typical quote was anywhere between 24 to 26 weeks. It can vary depending on the availability of steel and such, but we also only have one manufacturer of these structures. It's a company located in Tucson. And they do not produce the pole until it's actually ordered, so they don't have any on hand. So that is the main reason why it takes so long to build a traffic signal at this location. And it would be a modular structure as well, as that's in this picture here.
So once you obtain it, it can go up quickly?
Yes. Yeah. The underground work and the other work around it, as in the other construction work in the area, is significantly shorter than the time it takes to actually receive the structures and install them.
Thank you. Councilman Fazzillo.
Yeah, I'd like to add to what Council Member Loretano had mentioned. Yeah, here it gets kind of dangerous out there, so it probably would make sense until that thing comes up to ask the police department if they would make sure they can keep that traffic moving from a safety standpoint. Question on the price. Have these gone up significantly? For some reason, I don't recall $865,000 for one of these things.
No, very good question. The cost of the signal is slightly more. One is due to, yes, the price of steel has gone up. The price of the signal structure as well has gone up, even though this is only a T intersection. However, additionally, there is additional work included with this traffic signal, and that is interconnect conduit, which will connect to the future interconnect, which will be installed along the future alignment of Cotton Lane. There's a tie in there that will allow us to connect to this traffic signal and the traffic signal at Estrella and West Star. Now, I can't remember the specific number that did add some cost to this, but what's going to happen is there's a fiber project that'll be taking place with city staff later this fiscal year that allow us to connect the traffic management center to this traffic signal and the signal at Estrella and West Star to help manage this.
So that's going to help the flow of traffic.
Yes, that we'll be able to monitor from the traffic management center.
Okay, thank you.
Hampton. I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Hampton.
I just had another question.
That credit.
Yeah, another question. So there's three styles of lights in the city. Is that correct? And this looks like the more expensive of them. Is there a reason why we chose this one versus one of the other ones? I'm not sure the continuity or how we're all sticking with these ones. I mean, these are nice. I'm just curious the thought process behind this particular style. I'm just curious.
Yeah, Councilmember Hampton, very good question. Currently, we have two accepted styles of traffic signal poles for new construction. We have this style we refer to as the modular structure, and then we have what they call the ADOT structure, which is more of a round style pole. Currently in our city standards approved by council with those two structures, the dividing line, at least for this area on Estrella Parkway, is at Lum Wash, which is about a quarter mile to the south. So if the signal were constructed south of Lum Wash, as in, let's use an example, the Estrella and Calistoga, which is the always stop south of high school, that would have been a round or the ADOT style pole. North of Lum Wash, which is where the high school is a modular structure, which is the one we see here. That was the deciding point behind it.
Yeah, because that's like a $200,000, if I remember right, or more difference between the two, or am I completely off?
It is the ADOT style pole is cheaper. The prices have changed a little bit, as in that standard, how their design has modified, it's changed a little bit in the last couple of years. But yes, it is cheaper. It's probably between, if I had to guess, it's probably around $150,000 cheaper, I believe, is the price we've seen more recently.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Councilmember Campbell.
Well, I remember the discussion between
Yes.
all of the traffic lights. And it's important to make the city look good and be consistent. And Estrella Parkway is a main thoroughfare for all of Estrella. And I would hate to see different types of lights on different corners. I think we need to be consistent. And these particular ones, there's already some installed. You know, it's at Elliott. And then if you go on down, is it West Star?
Cantamia?
Yeah, I get my streets mixed up there. And they've got the light as well. And it just makes sense. And these are, to me, they're like an art traffic light compared to the other traffic lights in other cities. And that's why we did it. And we talked about it forever. We know the others are cheaper. They do look cheaper. They don't have this wonderful look that we have in our colors and with our Goodyear sign on it. So that's why we did it. And Joe, I think it used to cost $650,000 or $700,000. So going up to $865 is not bad when you consider the cost of steel and everything else has gone up so high. I'm just so grateful we're doing it now before someone gets hurt or killed at that school, because it is a nightmare getting in and out of that parking lot when the kids are coming to school and when the kids are going to go home. And I know every parent in Estrella are going to be thrilled to have this light up there.
Any other comments? Well, I'm commenting because we had a great, deep discussion on these lights. And council came to us with other lights that would be cheaper. And we looked at them and we had deep discussion. And we decided, you know, we talked about the bus stops today, how we'd like to make them look like Goodyear. It's the same about those signs. The other thing is we found out they're readable. All ages can read that sign. And when you get my age, you know, your eyes kind of fail you a little bit. And it's perfect. And so I just think that they're sharp looking and it just identifies how Goodyear is and how they take that extra step to make their city look good. Yeah. Any other questions here? Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The next item business is to consider approving the map of dedication for Van Buren Street and West Boulevard. Christopher Baker, Development Services, presenting. Christopher?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am not going to give you a history of maps of dedications, so you can rest assured. I figured you would be, yes, sir. The purpose of this particular agenda tonight is to receive from the developer an additional dedication of right-of-way that goes from about 10 feet to about 6 feet on the north side of Van Buren. It's in accordance with engineering design standards and policies, and this really gives us, it completes the right-of-way width for this section of Van Buren. This is in front of the Cabana on Bullard project, which is at the northwest corner of Van Buren and Bullard Avenue. And this right-of-way dedication, as I mentioned, is on the north side of Van Buren. So the recommendation is for you to approve this tonight, subject to the two stipulations in your staff report. And I'll stand for any questions, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? Then can I have a motion and a second to approve the map of dedication for the Van Buren Street west of the Bullard Avenue, subject to stipulations? Do I hear that motion?
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Stipp and a second from Council Bazillo. Open for council discussion. No discussion? All right, let's vote on it. All in the favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. We're at number 11. The next item on business is consider approving the memorandum of understanding and support feasibility study for Bartlett Dam. Please introduce yourself, please.
Gretchen Irwin, Water Resources and Sustainability Manager. Good evening, Mayor, Lord, and Council. I'm here to request your authorization for the city manager or her designee to allow for the execution of the MOU with SRP and other participating entities on the feasibility study to modify Bartlett Dam on the Verde River. So first, I want to provide you with a little bit of background and then why it's relevant to the city of Goodyear. So recently, an appraisal level study was titled the Verde Reservoir Sediment Mitigation Study was performed by SRP and the Bureau of Reclamation to address sedimentation issues at Horseshoe Reservoir. Approximately a third of the reservoir's capacity has been lost to sediment accumulation, and it's estimated that it loses approximately 1,000 acre-feet per year due to sedimentation. So this loss of capacity creates some concern about SRP's ability to meet the future needs that their customers rely on. So SRP generally makes up any shortage in surface water by pumping groundwater. Without action to restore the lost storage capacity and mitigate against future storage losses, further dependency on groundwater is anticipated. The appraisal level study evaluated alternatives to restore the capacity, as well as examined other opportunities to create benefits possibly available to others through actions to resolve the sedimentation problem. A number of the options that they looked at were not really considered eventually in the appraisal level study. They looked at things like grazing management, erosion control. They did look at removal of the sediment from the Horseshoe Reservoir, and they also looked at two alternatives to modify the dam at Bartlett. Constructing new or modifying the existing storage facilities at Bartlett creates an opportunity that will benefit users beyond the original SRP beneficiaries through increased water supply, flood control, dam safety, recreation, hydropower, and environmental benefits. So modifying Bartlett Dam creates additional conservation storage space, which presents an opportunity to provide a new renewable surface water supply from floodwaters that could be used to offset losses in supplies due to the shortages on the Colorado River and reduce current and future dependency on groundwater in central Arizona. In the 1980s, there were 6 studies that got together and paid for raising the Roosevelt Dam, and they now have access to that storage space. So this is not a new idea for Phoenix. So the city, with an eye on future growth and sustainability, and reducing our dependence on groundwater, continue to explore opportunities for future water supplies. This proposal is interesting to us because we already have the infrastructure that we built to bring water through the SRP canals to our surface water treatment plant. And we also have our existing partnership with SRP. And I just wanted to mention that we were called Cool and Clever by the Kyle Institute for Water Policy last week on KJAS. So that's the first time I've heard water management be cool and clever. But this is also appealing to us because it is considered a renewable supply, and therefore it does not require replenishment. It would be something that we own in perpetuity. It's not a 100-year lease. So we're asking for your authorization to execute the MOU to develop the next phase of this feasibility study. So participating in the MOU and then the subsequent feasibility study would allow us to learn a lot more about the project and whether it makes sense for Goodyear. The MOU working group will create a steering committee, and then that steering committee, among its other responsibilities, will develop the cost-sharing agreement amongst the participating parties to fund that feasibility study. So if we want to move forward in the process and join in on the feasibility study, we would then return to council to discuss that with you. So I do want to highlight that the MOU is non-binding. It doesn't commit us to anything, and there's no financial obligation with the MOU. So our staff recommendation is that you authorize the city manager or her designee to execute the Bartlett Dam Modification Feasibility Study, MOU, between the participating entities and the Salt River Project.
Thank you, Gretchen. I'll talk later. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? Can I have a motion, a second, to authorize the city manager and her designee to take any and all actions to execute the memorandum of understanding to support the Bartlett Dam modifications feasibility study among the various participating entities, Salt River Valley Water Users Association and Salt River Project, Agriculture Improvement and Power District. Do I hear a motion? I heard a motion from from Councilman Stiff, sorry, and Laura and Councilman Kano. Open for council discussion. It took me a minute, but I got it out. Hey, what can I say? Councilmember Vice Mayor Hampton.
Sure. No, I think it's a great idea. I appreciate you looking for more opportunities for water in our city. So keep the cool and clever ideas coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comment? Appreciate the presentation. It's interesting. So I remember when I first saw that map, I mean, years ago, and then I looked at it again, and you almost forget all the entities that are on this water picture. So it just brought back that, everybody says there's no more solutions. This is what there seems to be popping up, solutions for water. So, and it was exciting knowing what we're doing and for our company. So anyway, I'm very happy about this. All right, let's vote on. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Well, not bad, 6:59, and we're down to the end. Council, do you have any comments or current events you want to talk about? Okay, then I'm going to turn this over to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to share that city offices will be closed on Monday, September 6th in observance of Labor Day. Emergency fire, police services, and sanitation services will operate as normal, and city offices will reopen at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, September 7th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have something.
Yes,
for the city
Councilman
manager.
Campbell.
I have a couple of questions. I'm going to give it to the city manager to go down to wherever. I'm assuming that our traffic engineer and our PD is monitoring the pickup and drop off at Great Hearts Academy on Bullard, because when they're dropping the children off and picking them up, the right-hand lane on Bullard is totally blocked, and it is somewhat discerning for everyone to be there. I don't know how else they can get the kids right now because they've taken the parking lot away right now while they're building the athletic field, which, by the way, is beautiful, and I'm so happy for them. And also at Trinium Academy on Van Buren, getting the kids in and out. There's the traffic light there, but then they're backed up all the way from there all the way to Litchfield Road.
Bases?
Is that McDowell? Thank you. What did I say? Oh, I'm so sorry. You're right. It is McDowell. And I just want us to be sure that we're mindful of checking that so that we can keep the traffic moving if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vice Mayor?
I was going to follow up on that as well. They park all along that road near Lifetime Fitness. So if you're pulling out, you can't see any of the cars coming at all. So it's a little bit of a hazard if someone's flying down that direction with all the traffic. But I know it might be a temporary thing, but there are going to be more buildings going in that general area there as well. But yeah, pick up, drop off. And I'm sure there's more opportunities for success at other schools too. So
It's difficult. It's a difficult area.
I know.
And so I know we've tried other things, and this was a way to move traffic. And now I think that it's increasing. So, okay. Anybody else has anything to say before I go on? Or the next meeting will be a work session beginning at 5 o'clock on September 13th, 2021, followed by a regular meeting. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.